all the headlines there, Dan, was I was going to Q school and I was going to throw the game in 2018. As if anyone would ever give a Lakeside title away, and that was obviously one of my most memorable games, coming back from 4-1 down against him. And I didn't even smile when I won it because I just knew the effect it would have on him. So to see him bounce back and to become the man and the player he is now, it makes me very, very proud.
Well, there's no doubt, we've seen Jim Williams play at a very high standard over very long format games, not least against the bloke sat next to me. So there's quality there. The thing that has been perhaps missing in Jim Williams' game is consistency. And that's the real brutal thing about this professional tour. You've got to be so good so often to make it work. But this is excellent from Jim Williams. He can't find the treble 17, but it's another leg where he's outscored his German opponent and is looking very, very good for a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, and it's only 24 hours ago since he played Pascal. He beat him 6-1 yesterday. Jim averaged 100, but mightily improved with this guy in your picture. 18 months he's been playing. I know many people who are watching now who have dreams and aspirations of being a professional player. Well, as Jim, that's usually what happens when you're 165 and you go for the bull. So he stays in control, and a big dart at this double 4.
Game shot.
And that's the difference. You're playing for fantastic money in the PDC, and he sees it as a bonus. He sees it as a hobby right now. He'd never tell you any different as Pascal peppers this treble 20.
124.
He went for that treble 18 there. Would have left double 16.
I thought you might stay there for the treble 20. It's becoming a more popular shot, that, leaving an awkward double because you've got a good mark 44. Or two in the treble. It seems to be much more used by the top pros in the last year or so.
And I think it would be against Jim, because if you're there again, Jim's proved me wrong, because usually Jim just looks at the floor. He never looks at the opponent. Double 5.
72.
And 120 is very simple in one way, throw straight. And there's the perf one. The way Jim's darted, that's why he's moving across the hockey there, because they do sit up very high. You may see him move again. He's going to stay. So he'll be looking at the right-hand side.
Game shot.
And he pings it with aplomb.
Yeah, Gabriel Clemens, the beaten finalist, seeing off Aaron Monk as well, and Callan Ridds, who I'm convinced is going to have a big year. Think things are going to happen for the Riot 100. This year. But things are certainly happening for Jim Williams in this game here. The average is mid-90s, which has been good enough to get him a match start for 6-1. He should get more match starts from here, but Rupprecht is just about
81.
He's keeping him honest here. That's a makeable shot, the 1-2-4.
Yes, he's very straight as Pascal, so it was a surprise to him and me. As that first dart went in the big one there for Jim, 74. So he'll be looking at treble 14. So all he can do right now is set it up with a fat 20.
41.
Which is exactly what he does, but with 1-2-4, it's just the one treble to give you a dart at the bull. So it'll be treble 18. There's the millimetre difference, just the wrong side of the wire.
56.
It's Jim Williams who approaches the board for the match, for double top.
Game shot
very effective, very efficient as the Welshman, to be feeling very, very good. That desire, that dedication, working on those areas that you hate doing, that you've got to love again. Because Adrian Lewis is possibly the most talented player in that 128 today.
93.
But only he knows if he's doing enough work to get back to where he wants to do. Certainly Zonneveld, as he looks at another tops.
Game
this
shot.
Is fantastic stuff from the Dutchman. Really, really impressive after going 1-0 down. It's very, very impressive.
Ooh.
140.
Wow. 4 perfect darts for Niels Zonneveld. 5 perfect darts to start a leg in the very next one from John O'Shea.
As Glenn scrambles for his notes for 9 darters.
91.
Goes to retrieve that one from the floor, but whatever he hits here, Niels Zonneveld could wrap the game up in 95. The very next visit.
I always like the bullseye, Dan, on that last dart, just to give yourself a dart at 76. 136 is always a tough ask, but he can leave tops with this treble.
96.
That's exactly what he does, but it's O'Shea with 86. He'll be looking at treble 18 for double 16.
78.
And that might be that, because Niels Zonneveld has been clinical. And remains so. It is a magnificent display from Niels Zonneveld. He averaged 104 yesterday against Rob Cross in winning that one. He has averaged 104 again here today.
Usually when the first dart goes in treble 20, the other two just follow fairly rapidly. And that's been the big change for me. He works very, very hard on his game. 2 hours on a morning, 2 hours on a night, and obviously living with Dimitri as well. And Jose's been staying there over the past couple of years, so fantastic dart practice for all of them.
95.
Yeah, it's great for any player if they can get a regular practice partner, and well, because Damon lives with Dimitri, they're bound to have some pretty decent matches.
Game shot.
A 102 checkout puts Heta 2-1 up, and that lovely smooth action.
But these are perfect. This is for me begging for a 180.
140.
Millimetres away, but you're right about the psychology of the scoring, if you like. If you hit a ton and the first dart's landed in the treble 20, if you hit a ton and the last dart lands in the treble 20, it'll feel like the difference between a 180 and a 60 almost. And
as an opponent, I mean, this is stunning darts.
180.
That's the Damon Heta, the improvement I'm trying to get across to the people watching there. A couple of years ago he wasn't able to do that, and it's the pace that they're going down as well now. And it's not because of luck or anything like that. I mean, this is hard work, dedication, absolute resilience. As he looks at double 6.
Game shot.
That's what it's all about. And you're thinking, how can I miss so many darts at double in the first leg and then finish on a 102 like that and a 92? Smith can look back and think, I've actually played fairly well in this game, but when you're up against the number 2 seed, you know, when you look at Dart Connect in the morning, when you get the announcement the draw's been done and you see that you've got Damon Heta, it's a tough draw, because you know what you're going to get from Damon right now. He's not the type of player who's going to shot 70-80 average in. You know, if you're going to have to beat him, you're going to have to be on your A game.
And Jeff Smith hasn't really been on his A game. It's been a good leg,
145.
though. An excellent leg, in fact. 140, 140, 145. But 110 for Damon Heta. It's not going to go this time. Staying
58.
North.
So you never know with Jeff. He can go his own unique way to get to double 18 in some way. And that leaves 61, so really he'll have to go 11 bull. It's a big dart for Jeff Smith.
51.
Well, I wondered whether he was going to have good. I wondered whether he was going to have the confidence to try and go 25 double 18. He didn't.
It's double 16 for Heta.
Game shot and the match.
The match that opened up with a couple of missed doubles for Heta. The Aussie looked very, very accomplished throughout, and he did put the afterburners on mid-match.
That ability and that stamina.
90 average was the benchmark. You know, now if you're not averaging 100 plus, then it's going to be very, very difficult to win one of these floor tournaments, because these players are, you know, they just love the surroundings.
58.
Sprint to the board to get that one out. But here's a chance for Boris to break. He could be looking at that favoured bull that Dan alluded to.
Game shot.
And as a soft tip player, that's the area of the board that they usually pepper with a plum. And that's exactly what he did there. That's a couple of times he's hit the bull.
Yeah, not only is it detrimental to Martijn's own game, but Boris Krcmar will look at him and think, I've got you beaten
98.
No matter what you throw from now on.
And that
I'm going to win this game.
Hurt Martijn as well, as we've touched on a little bit.
59.
Boris is to lose now, Dan.
Yeah, he's very likely to have 6 darts at this, maybe even 9, the way that Martijn's thrown in this contest. Just needs to set it up.
39.
And that's what he hasn't done.
And what's interesting though, Dan, is he's yet to get over the winning line in 2023 as Boris.
102.
Is that on his mind there? Good thinking, good board manager from Martijn. It gives him an out. But you do feel the way he's been pinging this double 16, Boris, that it's going to go all the way. By far his best dart has been that double 16. But it was a match of breaking each other's darts, and in the end, Martijn sort of was beating himself up a little bit. When it comes to points, you do think of him.
Yeah, the treble 20
40.
already looking a little bit ruined with the Searle coming out.
80.
Some good games already going on, Dannon. That's 64. Jim Williams already 2-0 up against the very impressive Niels Zonneveld as Whitlock looks at the 130. It's double 8.
Game shot.
Just right in the corner there. Sometimes that's when you realise maybe it's your day, because that very, very easily could have gone into double 16 and bust the score.
Mentioned at the start of the piece, Darren Webster won his tour card back at the start of last year. But he had an awful year, all things considered.
133.
Wasn't able to win as many games as he's like. I think out of the class of 2022, there was only Vladimir Anderson that won less prize money than him. So it's a huge ask for Webster.
I thought that was a pivotal moment of this match, that 1-2-4, followed by this 46, because the difference between 4-3 and 5-2 is monumental. Oh, it's double 12.
34.
Use the direction in that first dart there to try and get the 24. So Webster's still in this game, but he has to put this double 10 away. It's double 5 now.
35.
The chances, and I think you might have just heard him there. I think he realised that when you get them chances, you have to execute them, and you don't get against people like Simon Whitlock. You don't expect 6 darts at a double.
Game shot.
Because that's exactly what he will do to you. And 5-2 now is a big, big ask for Darren Webster. When you're so far behind, you just throw your darts of fun. For Whitlock now, that treble 20 is like absolute gold dust. That leaves 82. Fantastic setup play for the Aussie.
Yeah, he had choices with that last dart, bull or treble 14. He went the more aggressive route. 57,
100.
a very manageable 2-dart combo, and all Darren Webster can do now is hope and pray. Whitlock for tops.
37.
His prayers have been answered.
He's had a couple of opportunities to respond, Darren Webster. Hasn't always taken them. And this 120,
100.
It's the same scenario.
Well, it must be so annoying to hit the 3rd dart in the treble, which is where he needed one of the other two to be. Double 10 now for Simon Whitlock.
Game shot.
And it's a comfortable enough victory for the Australian, who's enjoyed a good start to the year on the Pro Tour.
One of the toughest opponents I've ever had, Ross Montgomery. And this is the guy I remember.
140.
Actually, Watcher is archived somewhere, because I'm, you know, a little bit sad and go through every bit of darts footage on social media that I can. There's an old documentary that features Ross Montgomery getting to Lakeside, I think for the first time. Really interesting stuff.
He hated the place. I think he was one of the few players who probably liked the fact it was moving to 2 that year in the WDF.
He was talking about superstitions and things like that.
Double 18.
Needs a bit of luck here, doesn't he?
Whenever I think of double 18, Rob Cross, the year he won the World Championships, he just did not miss it. For double 9.
Game shot.
And that's the kind of form he's in right now, Rob Cross. He just looks in a good headspace. He just looks like he's enjoying the game. And hopefully his family and friends are watching and they sort of relay that to him, because there's so many positives in this weekend. As Cross looks at the 132, but not this time. And 76 45. Is the type of finish. If you're going to beat Rob Cross, these are the opportunities that you must take. You can't slide into one of the 5, which he doesn't. So job done so far. These are the difference. These 1 dart or a double if you're going to beat these top seeds.
56.
It just goes underneath, and you can see the frustration from Montgomery, because you just feel the mood that Cross is in right now. This 87 is very, very gettable.
Yeah, usually when you miss, they hit. And Rob Cross wants to hit the bullseye. Has hit the bullseye. Cannot give this man an inch.
And he said cheers, mate, there, which clearly said that Ross Montgomery said great darts there. Ross Montgomery was a real match player.
It's interesting. Does he go 20-20 bull, or do you think he'll go for the treble 18?
I know, you know what I talked about respect. Maybe Ross will be thinking that's a little bit naughty.
50.
what I would do, can you see him sprint to the hockey there? Because all he's thinking, I'll prove you. You're going to go treble 18, are you? And that's why, and head that. That's exactly what was going through his head right then. But Rob Cross did it right.
100.
Tops for the match.
It surprised me, though, that he was trying to leave double 18 and then ended up choosing to leave tops, which he's missed by an absolute mile. I mean, I'm not being funny, a bit more over adjustment. He could have busted his score
Game
there.
shot and the match.
But in the end, he beats Ross Montgomery, and Rob Cross moves through to round 3, a 6-3 success.
What a contest this is, because there's no better sight than darts than the fluent, effective, efficient Lewis at his best.
Yeah, Lewis himself returned to the winner's circle last year, winning here in Barnsley Players'
60.
Championship 20 in July, ending a lengthy spell without victory. Both players who, on their day, are as talented as anybody.
Yes, I feel like I've had the hors d'oeuvre, and this is the main course, but this is only the 3rd round. And that's what happens as Barney looks at double 18 for a scintillating 150 finish. I think I'd have stayed on the treble 20 bed there, but who am I to know?
Yeah, there was no real sense in switching. I wasn't going to leave a finish, whatever happened.
180.
Adrian Lewis. It's number 4 for him in this game to once again leave 41 after 9.
98.
Yeah, sometimes you build up a game, maybe build up a too much, but these two are absolutely delivering. You have to fancy this double 16.
25.
And a game can turn on 3 darts. This 1-2-4 is a finish we like, because it's only 1 treble to leave the bull. That treble being treble 18, but not on this occasion. You see the disappointment, the wry smile. Lewis sprints, sprints to the hockey, because he wants this double 8 put to bed.
Impatient to arrive at the hockey there, Adrian Lewis.
No score.
Maybe just too overexcited.
Yeah, dare I say, boring does a little bit more composure there from Lewis. 68, you have to fancy this. Big dart in this contest.
Game shot.
What a dart from the champion, and there's the fist pump, and Adi Lewis won like that because there's a couple he's thinking, should I just stay on the treble? That's the right way to go. He should really use a treble 20 bed there, but because they were so good. What do I know? Because it leaves that 1-4-3 finish now, and just when you're thinking it was in Barney's hands, or is it in Barney's hands?
180.
Well, I said welcome back to 2012. They're playing like they were last decade here, and what a way to win it that would have been.
87.
Great attempt, great effort, great performance from Adrian Lewis, but Raymond van Barneveld has more match darts.
Game
what was billed as the big blockbuster, the 2 giants of the game absolutely delivered, and I, as the commentator on that one, thoroughly enjoyed every moment. Both of them are still showing that the best is still in front. The future is bright for these guys.
Met the Grand Prix, the match play, all over the place.
And it's Johnny who seems to be getting the better of them. Under the 12 times they've met, with Johnny winning 8 of those. Means nothing when they get up here today.
45.
People used to ask, do you think about how many times you beat so-and-so, so-and-so? Well, if these two are anything like me, I couldn't remember half the games. It was just about looking forward, and that's these types of players. There's another 180 goes in for Dirk. The improvement from that guy it's absolutely insane. And
140.
Such a tough scorer, big scorer, not frightened of anybody. Double 16.
Game shot.
With a plum, and there's the aubergine on his lapel, and this one's already up there. That you're just thinking, wow, I was doing this with them. It's amazing.
140.
This is the elite. This is the best. When there's hardly any seeds going out early doors, you're going to get last 16s, last 8s to die for. This is
135.
Well, what's it like, Glenn? Because you've been in the position where you're going up against a player where if they are the biggest or one of the biggest scorers in the world, whether that be Dirk right now, Chizzy, Van Gerwen, Anderson, when they're at their pomp and hitting enormous numbers of 180s, you're going into that game and must feel
140.
I can't do what they do if they get going, so I'm going to have to be better elsewhere.
I'll answer that just before this double six because I'm just enjoying this so much. It's just incredible. But there's that adrenaline flowing through that body. And that's why he possibly didn't like playing someone like me. It was a little bit slower. You know, this pace is suiting both of them right now. And that's why you're witnessing just a lovely game.
Would you purposefully try and slow down an opponent then if you're up against them?
I promise you, never. I never, ever.
Why not, Glenn? That seems a poor choice if it makes them worse.
If I said I might have done in the BDO because I was the big cheese, I never. Susan said all of a sudden you're trying to be too nice in the PDC, but I never ever tried to slow anyone. And if anything, that it was getting to me that people were saying boring, slow, Glenn. When I was even beginning to try and speed me game as Dirk looks at treble 13. This is just, you know, just the Aerosmith of these guys. It's just unbelievable. You could very easily now ping this 180. As shown in diagram B.
7 180s now for Dirk Van Duijvenbode. The biggest 180 hitter on the planet.
100.
I hope people are hearing the excitement in my voice, because I'm absolutely having the time of my life sat here watching the best players in the world doing what they do best. You know, this type of arena is conducive to fantastic darts, and look at this 160 attempt. Sometimes with the crowd involvement, big, small, the TV lights. What you're seeing now is raw and uncut, just on the floor, people playing the best. And look at this for a finish. Wowzer.
Wowzer indeed from Dirk Van Duijvenbode. He seals it with a 145, and it is another absolute classic between the Overgenius and the Ferret. Usually Clayton gets the better of them. They always seem to produce brilliant stuff, and those are mind-boggling numbers. He is top of the averages list from the players still in. He's averaging 102.5 for the day. The one average that hasn't been 103 and change was his opening game, where he still averaged 99.7 against Connor Scott. So it is pretty special today from Ryan Searle. But Mike Kuivenhoven hits the first 180 of this one, and he is a guy who's got a bit of a habit of slaying giants. He's beaten MVG on a few occasions.
99.
He's a solid operator, and he's had a solid day. Averages ranging between 92 and 97. This would be spectacular. It is spectacular. A 161, a 12 darter from Ryan Searle.
Getting his backside handed to him on a regular basis appears to have helped him. He said after his title last weekend that I'm coming to the Pro Tour, the elite level, and I feel like I'm playing the game on easy mode because Gary Anderson is absolutely annihilating me. And so all these guys, with the greatest of respect, this is nothing compared to what I'm facing on the practice board.
Well, if it's reinvigorated him, it can only be a good thing. I think it's reinvigorated Gary Anderson as well. He's found his love for the sport once again, having a regular practice partner. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for one of their practice sessions. You could almost hear the treble 20 screaming, saying, "Stop hitting me," after a certain amount of time.
130.
Well, Ryan Searle has finally delivered one of his brilliant legs against the darts. And double 4 provides the 12 darter that he didn't actually need in the end, because Kuivenhoven had a rare leg off on his own throw. But Ryan Searle, you'd have to say deservedly, as soon as he's playing for the day, he's constantly throwing. He is throwing and throwing and throwing. And that is an absolutely sublime setup shot there. 164 to leave 139. If he finishes it off with consecutive visits of 164, 139, it's going to be, well, a fitting way to end a magnificent display.
139 notoriously difficult, though, and Kuivenhoven has applied a lot of pressure. Sets it up for tops, but this has been a wonderful riposte from Kuivenhoven. Not down and out just yet. Straight in, double 18. And Kuivenhoven pins a 12 darter of his own.
Great chance to leave a 170. He's got to find another treble 19. Oh, that's so frustrating. Ryan Searle, 2 visits to see this off and close out the win.
Treble 14 for tops. Gonna do it, but 131 will do just fine. It's that portion of the board that he really likes. Tops, 18s, and double 4. There's Ryan Searle's name all over it.
128.
So for the win and a place in the semi-final, mile off.
4.
That was the worst dart he has thrown, not just in this game, possibly all afternoon. The second attempt at double 4 means that Mike Kuivenhoven could get a match dart. It's one dart at tops for the most astonishing of steals. Oh, Mike Kuivenhoven, that was a golden chance. You don't get better against a man averaging 110 all game.
So Ryan Searle for a place in the semi-finals, and he's done it in scruffy fashion after 10 legs of magnificence. As you put it, Dan, the 11th leg was a bit of a slugfest, but Ryan Searle won't care. He managed to win it in 20 darts, and he'll be facing Dave Chisnell.
Dave Chisnell is one of the biggest 180 hitters the world has ever seen.
Yeah, they've hit 44 maximums between them today, this pair. Joe Cullen hitting 8 of his 23 in his quarter-final victory against Jim Williams.
102.
Another in there. Leaves double 6. Oh, that is tidy from Dirk Van Duijvenbode, and it all comes after a 140.
Not that it matters now. He's had to work arguably a little bit harder for some of his wins today, Dirk. He's beaten Mervyn King and Callan Ridds in 10 legs.
177.
Gone to last leg decided against both Gert Nenches and Stephen Bunting.
Well, this is excellent. But he's
62.
either side of that double 8, and Joe Cullen could punish.
Well, that's interesting. Double 19.
Game
he
shot.
felt he'd blocked the treble and moved away, kept his rhythm, and that is an excellent, well executed and well thought out finish from Joe Cullen. Hit 23.
Yeah, so they're both going around that rate.
92.
Hitting a 180 every 2 legs. And that's not just over one game. That's a world-class rate. That's over a whole day.
Here comes another.
140.
Not quite on this occasion. And the door is open here for DVD. This little spell of breaks may continue. Calm down, Dirk. Contain yourself.
140. 60.
I took out the 87 no bother a couple of legs ago for an 11 darter. Bullseye for the 89 to follow and a 12 darter.
Yeah,
I mean, if Dave Chisnell can't turn that around, we are guaranteed 8 different finalists and 4 different winners from the first 4 Pro Tour events. As Joe Cullen gets back on the 180. It's his 3rd one of the match. Not hitting him at the rate he has been doing all day, all weekend. But gets him back in this leg. For all of about 5 seconds by the looks of it.
180.
Well, that's perfect. This is incredible.
140.
Well, the way he's hitting trebles, you'd think he would go for the treble here. Now, he may go for a couple of doubles. And it's a couple of double 19s that he attempted.
38.
It didn't work. Does this work? Oh, Joe Cullen, that is magnificent. 1, 2, 3 on the bullseye. Cullen breaks, goes into the lead and 1 leg away from the final.
And looking to make it titles on back-to-back weekends.
Oh, does he stay there? He does.
180.
It's a bit of a dead cat shot. It leaves him an awkward double. 18s. Another bullseye finish. Oh, Joe Cullen misses a dart for the final.
And he had no interest, did he, in attacking the treble. Maybe trying to sneak it in the double, in fact, instead. Can Dirk sneak this in the double to stay in the semi?
No score.
Unlucky 13. Will it be the moment that Cullen seals his spot?
17.
It's not.
He has played magnificently, and he has missed 3 darts for the final. Dirk Van Duijvenbode back on this double 13. It's the only area of the board where they've got stuck really on the doubles. Double 6 and double 13. But double 13 is found. Dirk Van Duijvenbode breaks. He has survived 3-match darts, but has the darts in a last leg decider.
No real response from Cullen. And Van Duijvenbode is back where he belongs, where they belong.
180.
This is ridiculous. He is at 9 180s. 5 of them have come in the last 3 legs.
123.
Oh, and Joe Cullen just stayed straight there. He would have been on something makeable. But it's Dirk's chance to win the match, and he has won the match. And what a match it was. Dirk Van Duijvenbode winning 7-6 in one of the most amazing semi-finals you would ever wish to see in a Pro Tour. 13 180s, 9 of them going the way of the victor, who's averaged over 100 with